Twitter is restricting free speech, and we at WION have experienced it firsthand. Something quite worrying happened this weekend, and I want you to know about it. Most of you are familiar with Gravitas Plus. It's our weekend digital edition where we cover issues ranging from politics to ancient history in short 10-minute videos. They're only broadcast on digital media. On Sunday, the 30th of May, we decided to raise the issue of women's reproductive freedom. At a time when women across the world are losing their rights over their own bodies, we thought it was imperative for a global network like ours to speak on behalf of millions of women and to give voice to those who are fighting for the right to safe and legal abortion. So we put together a 10-minute video, packed it with research, data, facts and case studies, and we urged governments across the world to reconsider regressive laws, to give women the right to choice. Turns out, our message never reached the audience. Why? Because Twitter apparently filtered us. What for? We don't know. On what basis? Again, not a clue. Within minutes of the live stream, Twitter branded the video sensitive material. Look at this. Twitter also restricted our access to conversations around the video. WION's social media team could not view quote tweets or tweet activity. Soon the video was made unavailable on certain profiles and timelines. And this time, without any reason given or sensitive material warning. Now, first things first, how does Twitter define sensitive material? And does abortion even qualify as sensitive material? Let me show you the platform's policy. And it says that Twitter groups sensitive media content under the following categories. Number one is graphic content. Media that depicts death, violence, etc. Does a video on abortion qualify as graphic content? No, it does not. And I'm not saying this, Twitter is. In January 2020, Donald Trump's campaign posted a video on anti-abortion. Twitter tagged this video with a sensitive media warning. Soon the graying was reversed. Twitter said it had made an error. So which are the other categories under which videos are branded sensitive? Category number 2 is adult content, pornography for example. Category number 3, violent sexual conduct. What falls under this? Rape or other forms of sexual violence. Again, nothing to do with a conversation on abortion. Next category, gore, gruesome content related to death, sadism, etc. Category number 5, hateful imagery, such as a Nazi symbol. Clearly, a Gravitas Plus episode on abortion does not fall under any of these categories. So why was it branded sensitive content? Why is Twitter restricting free speech? Why is it restricting the reach of credible content? Now here's full disclosure. Every episode of Gravitas Plus is watched by at least 50,000 people from across the world on Twitter alone. And this is the average figure. Some episodes have been viewed more than 1 million times on Twitter. Like I said, it's a credible show, one that our global audience loves, especially because we speak on issues that are otherwise ignored in the media space. So we were surprised last night when our episode on abortion did not see similar engagement. It just would not reach people. So we sent a mail to Twitter with screenshots duly attached. 12 hours on, there has been no reply. We then looked for answers on Twitter's policy pages. They were all headlined by well-tailored lines of freedom of speech. I have some. Defending and respecting the user's voice is one of our core values at Twitter. Here's another one. We do not block, limit or remove content based on an individual's views or opinions. Meaning, we let the audience decide for themselves. But in the case of the abortion story, our message never reached the audience. Clearly, policy and practice were not adding up, and Twitter was silent, so we decided to speak to some experts. Apparently, Twitter often brands content as sensitive for reasons not listed in its policy. These are reasons various and many, and often opaque. Jitin Jain, the director of a digital lab called Voyager InfoSec, said, and I'm quoting again, Twitter today is attempting to control global public discourse from a corporate boardroom. Its content moderation and censorship decisions are often opaque and smack of policy contradictions and double standards. Their content moderation decisions are often guided by political atmosphere rather than long-term policy and principles. Others have said something on similar lines. Of course, the platform does not admit it or thinks it necessary to offer an explanation. Just like our video on abortion, 12 hours on no reply, only more restrictions. In case someone you're following has been lucky to access the video, and has happened to retweet it, many of you will still not be able to view it on your timeline. The post may appear unavailable without any warning or explanation whatsoever. Why is this happening? Twitter's Help Center says this happens when content is quote-unquote not compliant with our policies. We may make it temporarily unavailable and require that the violator edit the media or information. Well, here's what we say. Twitter has no right to take editorial calls on content which is not even remotely sensitive, inflammatory or dangerous. This is blatant blocking of free speech and expression. And this is the same platform that back in December was writing long blogs on freedom of expression. And I have some portions with me. I must read out some lines as a reminder. We will continue to advocate for the right of free expression. We remain committed to safeguarding the health of the conversation occurring on Twitter and strongly believe that the tweets should flow. As we speak, Twitter has been wrangling with the government of India over what? Free speech again. Twitter is crying threat to free speech. Earlier this month it said, "We will continue to be strictly guided by a commitment protecting freedom of expression and privacy under the rule of law." Abortion too falls under freedom of expression, and you cannot restrict either. Social media was supposed to be the platform for unfiltered debates. Today it has become the biggest hurdle. It is interfering with elections. It is muzzling and deplatforming leaders. In 2017, Twitter blocked a campaign ad of an American leader called Marsha Blackburn. She was announcing running for Senate, but the ad had a pro-life sentence favoring abortion. Blocked. In 2020, American lawmaker Matt Gaetz's pro-life tweet was blocked. And why just Twitter? Last year, Facebook branded WION's interview with a Chinese virologist as fake news. They branded her lab leak theory as fake and then partially fake. And today, the same so-called supposedly partially fake narrative is being pushed by the American president. Lab leak is being considered as a possible source of the Wuhan virus, and Facebook is happy to give it a platform. The point I'm making is very simple. Social media platforms cannot be allowed to play judge, jury, and executioner. This is social media manipulating content. This is big tech editing our conversations. They're shaping and controlling narratives and preaching to governments on how to uphold free speech. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.